Where's that leaked audio? Bruce Harrell, that leaked audio of him saying he was, yeah, he shares your disgust. Text messages show Seattle Mayor Harrell rich neighbor discussing Denny Blaine. Hold on. Where's that audio? Is it not audio? Is it just text? Look at this. Private conversations happening between Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell and philanthropist, money haver, Stuart Sloan in the months leading up to a now scrapped plan to build a children's playground at a nudist park popular with queer people. If you are disgusted, I share your disgust, said Mayor Harrell in a text message to Sloan. Denny Blaine Park has attracted the ire of neighbors in recent years, including Sloan, whose house borders the park. It's a haven for nudists in the LGBTQ community, but has attracted negative attention as some park goers have engaged in sexual activities. What a shocker. A playground was proposed to be built in the park with significant funding promised from Sloan and others. The plans for the playground were later abandoned after hundreds of community members vocalized their opposition. Had it happened, Stewart would have been the anonymous donor alone. The text record shows Sloan reached out to Harrell in his personal cell in March 2023 while the mayor was on an anniversary trip to Maui. In a message to the mayor, Sloan sent 2 pictures taken at the park, which Sloan lives adjacent to, with nude images of park goers. I did take the liberty to black out the privates, but rest assured there were many today in the park, Sloan wrote to the mayor. This is disgusting, and as you've said, we're on the right side of this issue, Sloan continued. I hope you agree we need to get ahead of it or it'll be more difficult once the good weather returns. The mayor responded to Sloan. He'd forward his message along to APD as Superintendent of Seattle Parks and Rec. I will get it done, Harrell wrote. Harrell told Sloan that Deputy Mayor Edame Emery would call him. Within 10 minutes, she had, according to text records. Wait, what's going on? It's freak shit for the mayor on vacation in Maui and a wealthy donor, philanthropist, to be directly texting where they, as it goes on, talk about the disgusting degeneracy of the queer goers in a historic nudist park, and then plan to put a children's park there in this cynical clean up the neighborhood, but also now if any of these queers are mad, they look like pedophiles kind of way. Like it, like the point here, it's this very cynical attack on the community of the park. Yeah, it's tactical pedo jacketing, and it's also the direct communication between the mayor and a wealthy donor, immediately forwarding him and getting him called by a member of the government just while he's on vacation. He's doing this work while he's on vacation. 3 months later, text messages show Harrell reached out to Sloan. Made aware of the fact the problem of nudity and hazardous waste been totally unacceptable at the beach. If you were disgusted, I share your disgust. Oh, right, nude beach. Executive Edame Emery will be working with you to address the issue. I apologize, it's not been done quickly and effectively. The law department pushed back on one strategy, but I'm committed to figuring this out. I am assuming you are frustrated, and I think your frustration is very reasonable. I know you want results, not an apology, so I hope the latter is quickly forthcoming. Look, listen to this, okay? Forthcoming apology? Yeah, he sounds like his fucking employee, which I guess he is in an abstract kind of way. I was going to take the devil's advocate view that Harrell was just placating Sloan, but the follow-up. Sloan's just a regular citizen. The idea that the mayor should have to quickly respond while on vacation to this one citizen who was his private fucking cell phone number? Absolutely insane. Anyway, stuff like this is very indicative. In its own, like, as a little slice of an issue, not that big a deal, right? Mayor and some wealthy donor don't like a nude beach. Okay. You know? But this is sickening, I share your disgust, directly communicating, just openly texting one another like this, it signals political priorities. Miami has a nude beach. Nude beach is legal in Seattle. There's nothing illegal about that. I mean, like, you can complain about it, but this Sloan, this donor who was texting the mayor, he's essentially complaining that from his rich estate, the beach view that he has is being tainted by people using a nude beach for its historic purpose. So what's the issue? They know it's a nude beach. They hate it, and they're explicitly homophobic. I share your disgust about a nude beach? This is Seattle. Guys, it's Seattle. This is Seattle. Leaving aside the fact that it's literally legal here. I mean, the enormous cultural mismatch between the mayor, his priorities, and what the people of Seattle like and care about. Public nudity isn't illegal across the board. No, it's explicitly legal in Seattle. as versions of it are in many places in the United States. I understand we live in an age of moral puritanism, totalitarianism, censorship, and conservative virtue signaling, as if they don't, you know, run off to churches and tell their priests it's okay for them to fuck the kids. But public nudity has, in fact, been varying degrees of acceptable in all societies, across all times, in certain contexts. You know, Christian prudishness notwithstanding, there are nude beaches across Europe and plenty of cities in America where varying degrees of public nudity are legal, including Seattle, which the mayor knows. Anyway, more than once I've seen people be nude at Seattle parks. We have a nude bike ride popular each year. Yeah, from Fremont. Googled it to clarify, and apparently, in response to a court order, there actually has recently been a crackdown on the public nudity at Denny Blaine Park, which I believe is the park they're referring to, because it's the historic LGBT nude beach / park. It seems like it fits the bill. 1984. Yeah, closed will now be required in parts of Denny Blaine Park in response to a lawsuit against the city of Seattle over public nudity. Really? 14 days to address nudity at Denny Blaine Park. The fuck is this? Submit a plan of abatement to address nudity and, quote, other sexual acts? Nudity is not a sexual act, definitionally. In his ruling on a preliminary injunction, Judge Samuel Chung found public nudity at the park to constitute a public nuisance. How? That seems to run in contradiction to existing legislation on the topic. Like, how can you say it's a public nuisance if it's legal? You know the law that made nudity legal in Seattle is called Seattle v. Johnson? A lawsuit filed in April states about 10 years ago the park began used by people from outside the neighborhood for nudity, more recent sexual acts such as masturbation, other forms of public sex. Yeah, that public, the legality of public nudity is not the legality of public sexual acts for obvious reasons. And that is bad. But you can also engage in sexual acts at parks where public nudity isn't legal. Like it seems to me like what you're taking is like an overreach of people's permissiveness, and you're using it to attack the entire thing. Attacks, you can't make an attack against public nudity because people are being publicly sexual, because people can be publicly sexual without being publicly nude. Public nudity is terrible optics. Nobody can openly support it. Yeah, in America, I feel like it's less controversial in a lot of Europe. It's ridiculous. It is Puritan. Do you seriously think public nudity should be legal? Like, no conditions all the time across the board? I don't know, that seems like kind of a nuisance, and it's never really going to happen. They're never going to let you on a bus if you're naked, or ride a train, or go in a restaurant. But if you're talking about, like, at a park, and the park is already kind of designated and zoned for that, because you wouldn't want it to be just any park, right? We're talking about a park that's been known as like a nude park / beach for years and years and years. Like, okay, I don't know. I feel like for basically all of human history, people have gone down to the river and like washed themselves up and got out and been naked. I don't know. I don't really see the issue. I think humanity has survived the existence of nude beaches before. I think we'll manage to make it through in this one. Still, how the hell do they define this a public nuisance? Oh yeah, this is the same one. The park, established in 1901, is a well-known nude beach and LGBTQ community hub in Seattle. It was previously the center of a debate over whether to add a playground to the park. That was the current mayor and that wealthy patron. The Seattle Parks Department decided not to move forward with the plan after queer-led Friends of Denny Blaine argued potential changes or limitations could impact the park's reputation as a safe space for free expression. Yeah, putting a playground in that park would have done, like, the only purpose of it would have been to draw children to the park so you could arrest all of the queers there for indecent exposure. Genuinely, like, what a disgusting, like, disgusting in both directions. Like, yeah, let me, oh, my fucking view out my $10 million mansion of the beach is being worsened by, you know, nude park goers. Let me plant a fucking playground next to them to draw the oil and water together to guarantee some enormous, like, degeneracy-based social fucking meltdown. Jesus Christ. The mayor was complicit in this. Yeah, it is unironically like trying to get rid of a strip club that is there legally by putting up like an orphanage or an elementary school across the street from it and going like, well, guess one of them's going to have to move now. That is unironically what it is. That is actually what they're doing or tried to do. Hilariously, there are in fact family-friendly nudist ventures. Yeah, but that's just not what the people at the park are fighting for, you know? That's just, it's not a matter of like broader rights advocacy or whatever. It's very clearly a cynical plan by a conservative mayor to try to, you know, hit the folks there with the pedo hammer. Just can't be played into. You know, what we really need is playgrounds that only adults can use. I've long bemoaned the fact that playgrounds are just fun, especially if you're drunk, but a lot of them are for kids. So they're trivially easy, or they're like impossible to get around because they're made for tiny people. You need the, what I'm thinking is there's some kind of like gatekeep that kills children who try to use it. Like you have to leap across some kind of like a pit to get in, or maybe there's some kind of strength test. You know what I mean? Put an Israeli sniper. I'd kill all children on sight. That's true. Or maybe some kind of door you have to lift up, but it's like a 120-pound shoulder press to push it up over your head. So there's no way a kid could do it. Just put a height limit? No. People wouldn't be so fat, maybe. Maybe. Some people could probably stand to lose a little bit of weight. Not me, of course. Somebody's gonna fuck in the playground, just saying. Well, if you built this playground properly, it would be like an adults-only space anyway, so it wouldn't make a difference, you know?